What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. The highly anticipated Q2 earnings did pass. I want to go over some of the key highlights and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did close in the green, 6.57%, 25.11 the high. So a new 52-week high was hit. A lot of volume. So 229.34 million shares being traded. 76 is the average. Throughout the trading day, you kind of had a certain level of suppression because the broader market sucked because of UPS and a lot of other big companies giving really bad future guidance or even just pulling guidance. That sparked a lot of fear. Jolt numbers weren't really that much of a big factor for today, but you had a certain level of suppression, which eventually took hold of SoFi and dragged it down, but you had a lot of big money buying. Even after hours, you had a lot of big transactions occurring on the dark pool that was buying the dip with SoFi, but they kind of got blindsided because of a issuance. So SoFi just put out breaking news after hours, 1.5 billion issuance. I guess to be fully fair, Anthony did allude to this on his interview earlier today on CNBC. I actually have the transcript up. At the 6-minute mark, I posted that on my channel on a side note, but he said, "We do feel like we have adequate capital on the balance sheet, but going to be taking advantage of opportunities from time to time." So I guess after hours today was a good opportunity. Keep in mind, a S3 is a shelf offering good for 3 years. So it does not mean that they are going to be doing it immediately, but usually the market prices in that 1.5 billion issuance like straight out the gate. So that's kind of what happens, the negative side of that, but still it's a very interesting type of chain of events. For face value for SoFi's earnings, it was a triple beat. So they raised guidance for 2025. Earnings per share came in on the high end at 8 cents. Revenue came in at 858 million. And that I wanted to highlight because even the most bullish analysts did only feel 821 was kind of the high end. So very interesting chain of events. These are some of the ratings that did come out so far today. So you had a $15 sell, Bank of America. Analysts has a 67% success rating. 27 buy by Jefferies, John, who has a 60% success rating. And then you had William Blair, Andrew, who has a 65% success rating, did reiterate their buy rating. So yeah, pretty good stuff. Most likely tomorrow we should be having at least another 5 to 10, but because of this recent issuance, I feel like a lot of analysts have a lot of digesting to do. So they have that, and also technically just the actual key metrics and everything. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. During the SoFi's earnings, though, they did mention that they're going to be making a lot of big investments in, for instance, margin, level 1, and crypto. No definitive dates were stated, so that's a little bit more of a negative, but maybe some of this capital, I haven't really read the document in its entirety, but maybe some of this capital is going to go towards that. So let me know your general thoughts on that. But nonetheless, I think any investor getting in because of their earnings today, because of this issuance, of very bad timing, it's kind of a slap in the face. So I think that's why SoFi is selling off a little bit more than equivalently $1.5 billion worth. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from that, though, when it comes to shorts, they didn't do jack all today. They didn't even attempt to try to suppress SoFi. They just sat back and took it. And so they are losing a ton of money, and that's an understatement. But even today, they did return 175,000 shares, drop in the bucket ultimately because 126.43 million shares overall are being shorted, and that works out to be 11.65 million shares. So currently $2.66 billion of shorts are in SoFi. So tomorrow will be an interesting day to see what they do, whether they double down because of the issuance, or let's say if it does get bought up or something like that. But SoFi seems to have stabilized to roughly around here, so still not necessarily a good sentiment booster in my opinion. Today, 180 million in calls, 29 million in puts. 46% of all the options being done today are and were bullish in nature. So definitely good to see. So there's a little bit more upside anticipated based on all that. From the bulls standpoint, there is a consensus for it to be above pretty much that $25 to $26 range for the end of this week. So a nice recovery is still anticipated. Bears on the flip side are anticipating for it to be kind of between that 21 and 22. So kind of landed on their laps a little bit, luckily enough. But when it comes down to some of the transactions that did occur even after hours that was buying it up, there was a lot of big money. And I mean that, because even looking right here, all these transactions did get blindsided because of that issuance. So 39.5 million in one transaction, 49.8, 42.9, 5 million, 1 million, 2 million. This is just in a span of, it looks like 6 minutes. And just on the dark pool alone, that's not even counting the secondary market, which is riddled with multiple $1-million transactions. So definitely good to see. So I'll give you a quick scroll through. If you want all this, I'm going to be posting all this on my Patreon completely free, so you can pop over there and you have all this information. On a side note, every single day I actually do post all of this. So if you want kind of some Cole's notes and just to look at a lot of the details, and you don't want to hear me rant, you can just go over there and kind of take a look. But nonetheless, with it at 22.40 where it did close, it is between these 2 points. So this R3 and this R2. So it landed for the most part on that 22.39, but after hours it's kind of blowing this out of the water. So I guess technically 21.02 and then 20.77 are going to be the support levels that you watch for tomorrow, and then 21.86 followed by 22.39 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. So this issuance definitely did throw a wrench in a lot of things. If I personally did buy more today, I feel like I would be very irritated by that issuance, to be fully honest. I get companies need money, but I think just the timing of this is not necessarily the best. So I'm kind of lucky that I did sell, as I mentioned in my video yesterday, $25 covered calls. So those look as though they'll probably expire worthless unless big tech later in the week has a phenomenal earnings and good future guidance. Similarly, when I did sell $17 and $18 puts, that might possibly be exercised, maybe, so I might be getting more shares that way. But aside from that, hopefully more bullish ratings do come out next couple trading days, and then that in among itself might be able to bring SoFi higher. But on the actual chart itself, so factoring in the after hours activity, still putting it oversold, so that could really stand to benefit it going in the next couple trading days. And then aside from that though, it's going to be this, so the super trend, which is at 19.29. that is going to be a very strong kind of support that you want to watch for, because if it does break below that, that means you'll have algorithmic trading really working against SoFi, and you can kind of see in February how that really played out for SoFi. It's very hard to fight against the algos, so that one will be a key one to watch for. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Are you buying the dip because of the issuance? Did you buy even with the earnings today? Phenomenal earnings, so I don't blame a lot of people for actually buying more because of that, because it shows that there's a lot of big things coming for SoFi. But what's your general thoughts on SoFi? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Keep in mind, even though it isn't listed here for SoFi events, and nor has SoFi actually done any news about it, they are going to be joining and doing that fireside chat in a couple days. I believe it is on the 31st at JMP. I accidentally think I mentioned JPM a couple of videos ago, so it is at the JMP on the 31st. So let me know your thoughts on all that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for a lot of buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.